I'm your host, Riem Labidin, and you are listening to Tech Tag Podcast. Today, our guest is Alika Rebel. She's a CTO at Kaizo and she organizes a Scala meetup in Amsterdam. I'm excited to talk to her. Let's meet with her and learn about her journey. Hello, Alika. I'm very happy to have you here.
Hi, happy to be here.
Thanks for accepting the invitation, and I'm excited to learn about your journey.
Yeah, happy to support your podcast and share my career journey.
The first time I met with you was in Amsterdam meetup, and I got the chance to talk to you. I'm interested to know more about you. First, let's start with a small introduction. Who is Alika and what are some fun facts about you?
So my name is Alika. Currently, I'm CTO in Amsterdam-based startup. I also organize Scala meetups in Amsterdam, and I do triathlon.
What does it mean? Travel?
Triathlon, it's a multi-sport. So it's like swimming, cycling, and running in this order. So it's like a sport competition. It became really also important part of my life. That's why I also now sharing this part as well.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's really cool. And it's good to get out like after work doing all of these activities.
Yeah, it really helps to disconnect from work and refresh.
Nice. During your education, did you follow a computer science journey or how your journey started from the very, very beginning?
Yeah, let's start from super beginning. So at school, I was always passionate actually about two topics. One is math and second is sport. So basically, I was a math Olympiad, like a participator and in some points winner. And as well, I was doing sport like on professional level. So yeah, I was passionate about these two topics, but when it was time to choose a university, I decided to continue my journey with math area and switch in sport more like into hobby mode. So I entered the faculty of applied mathematics and computer science of Belarusian State University, where I studied all their fundamentals about mathematics and some computer science basics. Yeah, so that's where it all started.
And then you continued towards computer science?
I was always passionate about mathematics, but I was also looking into what can I do next? How can I grow in the area? And in math, it was mostly doing research and academical path. So, and I decided to explore more, and I found like engineering and startup world, and I was interviewing people about their work, and I thought, wow, it's really cool with technology rising and what you can do and what you can unlock with the help of technology. That's why I decided not to stay in academical area, but go to more, technology and business part.
In university, did you start having like some internships with companies to explore technologies, etc.?
Yeah, actually, I started early after like my first year of studying at university. In summer, I already went on my first internship. It was outsourced company, and the internship was actually to get you introduced into different areas, what you can do in technology. So we had some weeks of product managing, some weeks of QA engineering, some weeks of backend engineering, some weeks of front-end engineering. So it was really nice to have a quick overview. What does it mean? How day-to-day life looks like? So yeah, and it was mostly just to get familiar with different areas, what you can do. Yeah, as well, interview people, ask your questions, and try yourself do some parts of it. So Yeah, it was really a brilliant experience. And at that time, it was clear for me that I liked backend engineering the most. So, yeah.
It's really a good idea. It gives guidance to people to choose between just by experiencing the different directions and to choose between them.
Yeah, and for me also, it was not only about the tasks which I did, but also meeting different communities, like different departments. And I just had a feeling where I belong more,
Yeah.
So it also helped.
Great. It's really cool idea. And then how did you start with professional life?
Mm-hmm. After this internship, so I felt belonging, like, in backend engineering, but also, so I started to do different side projects using, I remember, like Java, Python, Ruby. So I just experimented with different languages. And I had this idea that, okay, I studied so long mathematics, and the backend engineering itself didn't seem that complex for me. And I wanted to apply my mathematical knowledge. And that's why I was like, okay, I need maybe something a bit more complex. And at that point, data science was just actually starting. It was not a hype yet at all. So it was 2015, 2016. Actually, I started to look for data science communities. At that point, there were almost none of them. And also, I started to look for data science internship, and I was doing my research in data science, configuring my first neural network to recognize, the objects on video. So pretty simple one, but it was interesting to see how it's working and what as well the technology could unlock. And with the first, actually, I think, it's really tricky to get first experience, like first real work. I would say it's the trickiest part, because at that moment I was going on interviews. So there were companies who were looking for data scientists, but no one wanted to get a person without production experience, actually. But the topic was also new. So at that point, you wouldn't be able to find a data scientist like with at least even 3 years experience. Like there were almost none on the market. But companies were expecting at least like a person who already was working as a backend engineer and, for example, switching their like specialization. So you at least have some experience working in real companies. And so for me, it was really tricky. Even though I tried to compensate it with certificates. So I've done a lot of courses on Coursera. I also was competing on Kaggle, and I was also part of open data science community in Minsk. So this one was their biggest at that point. But yeah, without production experience, it was really tricky to get the first job. And there was only one actually internship opened for data science. I applied there, but unfortunately at that moment, it's just also reflecting the situation. So they needed only 2 data scientists at that time. And received a lot of applications, and actually they already closed like their applications receiving. So but they got my application, really enjoyed, but said, you see, we already kind of closed, but we have another like in big data internship, so if you're interested, yeah, I feel welcome to apply. And at that point I was already tired of trying to get my first job in data science or internship, but for internship there were just only one for like several months, so it's kind of yeah. So I decided that I need just to start and to go on big data internship, and after it I would get some experience and I can always switch. So I just need to start gaining some production experience that the companies were asking for that long. Yeah.
You did it good when you did the trainings and added some certifications to your CV. It gives more chance. And it's sad that many companies, they don't have enough opportunities for people who are starting their journey. Fortunately, you found that another opportunity on big data, and how it went.
Yeah, so I just want to quickly add that, yeah, that's true. But also, I think it was a lot about timing because data science was too fresh at that moment. And yeah, companies didn't have actually the data scientist who can educate you, who can onboard you, you know? So
Yeah.
they needed a person who would quickly come up and start to do things. It was a lot about timing. Yeah, so I started my big data internship, and that's where I met Scala and fell in love.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's where I met functional programming. And it was also aligning with my vision about, okay, I want to reuse my knowledge. Yeah, so I fell in love with Scala, with community, and yeah, started to be part of it and try to grow it because it's pretty niche, I would say, still.
Great. What kind of challenges you have faced during that time?
Basically, I quickly switched on actually a project. So it was outsourced company. So I learned really quickly and I started to interview with clients. At that point, like to be honest, I don't really remember anything really as a challenge because it was a lot of already experienced people around. And I was just asking her help and also taking a lot of time on myself trying to understand how something works. So I was really passionate about finally switching, like doing some real work, having some real clients and real users of my work, like of my applications. So I was really passionate about it. It gave me a lot of energy to continue, actually. That's when I felt, okay, that's the right way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, there could be challenges going on, but you don't feel them as challenges in a negative way. They are like pushing you, moving you forward, making you grow, finding
Yeah.
guidance around, makes it all better. Yeah, it's great. After the internship, you started working in that company, or how did you progress?
Yeah, so I started to work there, but actually I switched company, I would say really fast, and there was a reason for it. The company I got internship in and started to work was outsourced company. Basically, they were like providing consultancy for other companies. And yeah, it was really fun time when actually it was also the place where I learned English because the client was based in United States and it was my first real experience, communicating in English because we were working remotely. And for me, I was missing the feeling to be part of the team and to be real drive. So outsource for me felt more like doing tasks rather than actually taking part in vision discussion, taking more ownership on what I do and playing more on in long term. So that's what I was missing. And that's why after several months, actually, I switched to startup.
And was it international? Did you also continue speaking English in that company, or?
Now, at that moment, it was 2019, 18, 19. The company was based in Minsk, in my hometown, but there were like Russian and Ukrainian people working for it remotely before, and they decided to open office somewhere in between, in Belarus, in Minsk. So it was like not really international team, but still people from different countries. But we were speaking Russian all the time. So
Nice. And you continued in that company using Scala, or was it a new business, a new everything?
On technology side, we used Scala, and also we were following mostly functional programming because in outsource company there were like not really functional programming. So yeah, here I was also passionate about other engineers and their vision and usage of functional programming in production. So yeah.
And it's backend, or was it big data like the previous job?
So actually it was backend. We were building programmatic ad exchange. So it was really a high-loaded system, and functional programming for this domain was really good choice. So it was interesting to take part of it. The funny part, my data science knowledge and passion also started to give some benefits because I saw the area where we can apply actually some simple model and try to predict some stuff and to actually gain profit from it. So yeah, that's why I also decided, okay, how about to try to do it? So I adopted a Spark and created a simple model and ran my A/B tests with model. Yeah, initially it was mainly backend engineering using Scala, following functional programming principles. But at the end, it was also a bit of, setting up Spark by yourself. It was a challenge. And also creating some simple model and run some experiments. It was nice.
Great. I can see your passion about the different things, including functional programming and also data science, and how you are using this knowledge and you want to create something out of it. Even like maybe it's not part of the current tasks, but you go out of the box and you want to create something out of it.
Also, there is some truth about like you learn something and for now you don't know, but probably somewhere it will give you something. So it's not just wasted time, but it gives you background on things. And further in life, you can see areas where you can apply something or generate some new ideas. So that's why it's really cool just to follow your passion and see where it leads you.
Yeah, the first step is the most difficult part of it, but then later, the more you get closer, the more you feel, yes, I'm going somewhere, and you will find the result. Great. And during that job, what are the other challenges?
So yeah, for me, I would say at that point, their main challenges were firstly, working in really flexible and fast environment because it was a startup. So learning to write stuff fast, but also not compromising the quality and find these trade-offs. In startups, you can have more opportunities to do something, but you need to convince everyone like, okay, let's put some effort and time here and see what it brings us. And also going from theory to practice and doing a lot with limited resources, I would say. Because again, like in small companies, you have, for example, like 5 engineers on a team, and yeah, it's not that much actually.
And especially the communication part. When you have like an idea and you would like to convince and to share, to present it.
Also, maybe important part, being able to be fully independent, like, not having any mentor or like a supervisor, like be independent in what you're doing and taking responsibility for it. And yeah, but it also gives a lot of freedom and energy as a result.
Yeah, like there are like positive side of it and negative side, because also having a mentor, having someone who will guide you will make things faster and easier. And this is also, it has an advantage. And also when you are by yourself, it puts you in a position where you say, I got this, I will do it. And you will make effort, a lot of effort. And maybe it takes longer than with a mentor, but then you will make it. Sometimes you can fail and then later you learn from it and then you make it better and better. And this is how mentors are made, out of these experiences.
Yeah, that's true. And also, at some point, you will not be able to find a mentor, actually. And that's a point where you need actually to, move independently and keep on going.
Yes, you're right. And then you moved to Amsterdam, or did you have another experience in Belarus?
So after working in this company, I relocated to Netherlands to work at Nike. So also as a software engineer, and we were using as well Scala on backend. And at that point, I left the startup and decided, okay, I'm interested also to see, to explore different environments and also to see what suits me better. and how will it feel and what are the opportunities there as well.
Yeah, I think also moving to a different country. It's like doing an adventure to try something new, and then also you will have to use different language.
Yeah, it was pretty a challenge at that time, but also exciting.
Nice. How long you worked for this company?
I worked at Nike for a year and a half, somewhere there, a bit more. And I realized that, okay, my current life stage, I need more agile environment, more flexible and young spirit, let's say. That's why I decided to switch back to startup life. Yeah, that's the point. I found Kaizo, my current company, and I decided, okay, time to action.
And you continued as a backend engineer, or did you try different roles?
At that time, I was not really thinking about roles. So in startups, if you are growing, there is always more work than people to do it. So my idea was mainly to join some hustle and get my hands into it and to do work I like and also explore what kind of work I enjoy most. Yeah, so I joined as a software engineer, but several months later I switched to CTO position.
And how it was like the switch? I'm interested about like the different roles in your journey. Is like you were interested into data science, and then you find big data position, and later backend software engineering, and then you start to also take all the skills that you have developed and create new things out of them and build new skills. And then how was the opportunity like about changing the role to become a CTO? Was it like the job description and then you applied for it, or was it in an interview, or how was it?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons like why I joined back startup, because in startups a lot of things are flexible, and also when your company is growing, usually people who joined like before and they get promoted and keep on growing because you're already working here and you already put a lot of effort and performing and you're also interested to grow. At that point, I would say for me it was also part of it of being in right moment, in right place. But also having all the knowledge that I gained before and all the knowledge and the experience. So the founder was previous CTO and he decided to switch to CEO role. And yeah, CTO role was open. And yeah, I was passionate.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are like the missions for the CTO?
Yeah, so firstly, I think it's important to mention that this role can be really different from company to company. I started to build my networking between CTOs and also interviewing people about, okay, what are your day-by-day activities and responsibilities? And it's really different. So it really depends from company setup, company size as well. So for me, I work closely with product, with sales, with CEO and engineering team. Usually like I'm the entry point for any like technology related questions where I can refer like where to go. Of course I don't have all the knowledge and background, for example, about purely technical details, but I know where to find it and I know whom to reach out. So yeah,
I can imagine also there are some challenges with the people because you need to communicate with different teams. Are there challenges into that, or?
Previously, before this experience in my current startup, I was mostly communicating with engineers. And yeah, it was really a surprise for me how different people could be and also different like departments, like for example, sales or product. And I was used to some, like vocabulary and mindset you're kind of using speaking to other engineers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just realized that, whoa, I need to learn how to explain stuff and not to assume that people who I speaking to know how, like, at least the concepts, like how something works under the hood and etc. And yeah, so it was learning path, and also learning a lot how to explain technical stuff on fingers, like on a really simple way. Like and yeah, it's a skill. I was also passionate about it because, you know, the thing is, you cannot build really something big by yourself. It takes a team. And for team, like, you need to find a way how to communicate and how to build the processes and how to keep on going.
Yeah. Great. And it's also part of the soft skills and try to understand different perspectives, etc. It can be challenging, but it is a good path for growth.
Yeah, that's true. And also for me, it brought to me also a lot of more understanding about business and product. And it brought me completely new vision as well on technology part. Because before, when I was purely in tech discussions between engineers, it's a bit different when you start to look into business values and the speed and stuff. Yeah, it's a new paradigm. I find it really valuable to be able understand as well other people's point of view and evaluate it, and, you know, just switch the roles, because yeah, it's about cooperation and taking optimal decisions while building stuff.
Yeah, and you expand your perspective through these experiences because you already know how engineers would think, and now like you are seeing the other perspective and you are going out of the box, and this will expand your knowledge. You are seeing the bigger picture. It can make an impact. This is really good.
Yeah, you need to understand other departments like point of view, but also you need to advocate your engineering team. It's also an important part, which is also tricky.
Yes, I feel like about engineers and product, it's very important if there is an actor, someone who is in between, who can understand that if it is technically doable, and like the capacity and different part of the engineering perspective, and also have the perspective of the product, and can collaborate on the idea and talk about it so they can make the right decision.
Yeah.
I can imagine your role is very important in that.
Exactly. And I would say also in startups, you always like switching some roles and responsibilities. So you're not really stick to roles. It's more like about taking part, and whenever you see you can bring value, you just bring it and participate and contribute.
Yeah. And you are also organizing Scala meetup, right?
Yeah.
Lately, you organized a meetup in Amsterdam. Can you tell us about the experience?
Yeah. So I would say if you want to do something in the beginning, and it could seem like really huge deal, you know, like it's a lot to do and stuff. But once it's done, you're like, yeah, it was easy. You know, so, and yeah, you learn by doing, and I think the most beautiful part is just to let it be, and yeah, keep on going, learn by doing, and improve on the go. So yeah, it was an interesting experience for me. And now I also as well, like when you start to organize stuff, you start to pay more attention about, like, you know, sharing that, hey, I'm organizing, will you be interested in joining? Maybe you have any reference to sponsors or reference to potential speakers, etc. And it works. People start at some point to come back to you and share about their interest.
Also, you build the community with people and having some connection.
Yeah, and as well, I believe, like, so when you're an organizer, you influence a lot on vibe of the community. So you can have influence on communications, on vibe. So that's, I found, pretty interesting and valuable. So you can experiment.
Also, the people who would join, if they know that you are organizing and they know you, they get more motivated to join because you present the meetup and you organize it. it has also responsibilities and on the vibes and on everything. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, you're making impact, like growing the community and connecting the people, which is really important for me.
Yeah, exactly. I wish you all the best on that. And we can move to the latest part about what advice would you give to your younger self? This question mostly for people who are maybe starting their journey and they would like to hear an advice that they can follow.
Yeah, so the advice I would like to give my younger self is actually not listen to people who are saying like fake it till you make it. Because, faking creates a lot of tension, and rather I would listen to myself, like my heart, telling, yeah, just be our authentic self and you will find your way. You will learn by doing, and yeah, keep it simple.
Great advice. I also believe that. I believe face it until you make it. You do it.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Love it. New version. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually applied that advice on the podcast because it was scary in the beginning. As you said, like, yeah, like the first step is the most difficult, but then later you say, yeah, I can do it. It's great.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thanks a lot for sharing your inspiring journey and thanks for your time.
Thank you. It was really nice to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm looking forward to our next episode with a new guest and new inspiring story. Until then, stay safe and stay tuned to our next episode. Tic Tac, tackle the inspiration.